Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the December 5th, 2018 meeting of the Thousand Oaks Council on Aging. I'm now calling the meeting to order, and I'd like to invite you all to rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence, please, in memory of our friends and neighbors we lost in the tragic circumstances in Thousand Oaks last month, as well as the passing of President George W. Bush last Friday. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. May we have the roll call, please?
Please say here or present when I call your name. Chair Gorbach.
Here.
Vice Chair Allen.
Here.
Commissioner S. Belding.
Here.
Commissioner Stephen Allen.
Here.
Commissioner Belding.
Here.
Commissioner Burt is absent. Commissioner Gitt.
Present.
Commissioner Maria.
Here.
Commissioner Mortimer.
Here.
And Commissioner Posta.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Number 4 on our agenda is public comments, and I do not have any public comment cards. Anyone want to turn one in? Okay, thank you. So we'll go on to our liaison and agency reports, and I'd like to call on Commissioner Gitt to report on the Ventura County Area Agency on Aging.
Thank you, Commissioner Gorbach. Can we get my slides up, Francine? I'd like to talk today a little bit about one of the very neat programs that the Ventura County Area on Aging offers in terms of transportation options. You go to the next slide. As you all know, transportation can become a major issue as we age, especially here in Southern California. In the Conejo Valley, we're lucky we have local buses and the dial-a-ride system, as well as Uber, Lyft, and other taxis. Dial-a-ride can be had for $3 a ride each way, and Uber Lyft, depending on where you're going, can cost $6 to $15 or more for local trips. But obviously, free is better. And the Ventura County Agency on Aging has some better options, which I want to talk to you about. Next slide, please. VC AAA makes senior transportation options better. For the dial-a-ride costs or rides that cost $3 each way, VC AAA under their elder care transportation program will provide you 20 free tickets a month. Or if you went round trip, that would be 10 free rides a month. If you need a ride to Kaiser in Woodland Hills or UCLA in Westwood, which is out of the county actually, they also have a MediRide option, which will have someone take you to both places, sit with you and bring you home. And they offer 2 free MediRides a month to seniors. And gurneys can also be accommodated in those rides. Next slide, please. The only requirement is you have to be 60 years of age or older. You don't have to. There are no income requirements, and the dial-a-ride tickets must be requested for the coming month, and will then be mailed to the requester. MediRides must be made. Reservations must be made at least 5 days before the need date, and the only restrictions on those are they're not available to residents of assisted living facilities, where transportation already exists, and seniors must not be receiving services from some other service that might be covered by your insurance. And you must not be employed. So if you're interested in these kinds of options, all you have to do is call VC AAA at 805-477-7300 and ask for information and assistance and transportation. You can go on the internet and read about these options at vcAAA.org, or there's a longer link that I've shown on the screen here. And what you can see on the next slide, Francine, is a brochure that's online, or you can pick it up at various places in the county, that describes the elder help program. It's got transportation information on one side of the brochure, and the next slide shows all of the different options available throughout the county. The 20 free tickets a month are not limited to Thousand Oaks if you want to go someplace else. So it's a really neat program. The price is right. And if you're in need of transportation in or out of the county, this is an opportunity for you to look at another option. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Gitt. That's really good information. And 5B and C on our agenda, I'd like to call on Commissioner Posta to talk about the Global Adult Community Center and the Senior Volunteer Program.
The Global Adult Community Center is usually represented by Patty Ham, the supervisor. She could not make it today, so I'll try to fill in for her. The Rotary Club of Westlake Village Sunrise hosts their annual holiday breakfast at the Global on Friday, December 14th from 7 to 8:30 a.m. Admission is free, but seating is limited, so call 805-381-2791 for reservations, or you can always stop by at the front desk to make them. The Holiday Ballroom Dance is scheduled on Saturday, December 15th. Doors open at 6 o'clock, free dance lessons, 6:30 to 7:30, and dances from 7:30 to 10. That's what time we usually go home to rest. Admission is $8 cash or check per person at the door. Enjoy a live band, the Ralph Mattis Band. This is the brother of Johnny Mathis. Johnny won't be there. Refreshments and dance hosts are available, so come by. This Sunday, the music program has an Elvis impersonator performing at 4 o'clock. He's really great, and it's a return performance. There is a sellout, but we usually do have a number of people who don't show up. So if you're really interested, stop by and pick up one of those tickets that people didn't use. The holiday luncheon is next Monday, but it is sold out, and unfortunately, no more tickets. You know, you snooze and you lose. Anyway, we hope to see you. There's a whole bunch of activities there. Check the Gazette for all of the activities that are available at the Global Center.
Thank you, Commissioner Posta. And I have my tickets for Elvis on Sunday. I have seen the best entertainment this year at the Global Adult Community Center. So thank you to everyone who takes the responsibility for putting those together. They don't get put together by themselves. And I know it's a lot of work, but it's great. You have to go. And I'm going to call on Commissioner Posta again to report on the Conejo Senior Volunteer Program.
Yes, Julie Spivak, she's a director. She couldn't be here either, so I'll try to fill in for her. Highlights of those coming up are the 2019, you put this in your calendar if you would, the 2019 Wellness Fest will be taking place at the Global Center on January 16th, 2019, from 9 until 1 p.m. There'll be over 50 vendors, ranging from care facilities to end-of-life services to medical, nutrition, and fitness. Screenings will include video, otoscopies, knee assessments, and hearing and balance testing. New interactive courses have been added this year and include yoga, meditation, brain and body fitness, healthy eating, and much, much more. This event is free, but advance tickets are required for lunch and will be available beginning January 2nd at the Global Front Desk. Also, the CSVP gift card drive is collecting card donations for borderline employees, which will be handed out for the holidays. During this difficult time, many of the employees are out of work, and we would really like to help and hope you will bring by gift card donations to the CSVP office by December 14th, if possible. We really do appreciate your support, especially for these worthy individuals. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Posta. Do you know if they want to collect only a box of gift cards or if it would be helpful to put stamps on them?
I'm not sure. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
But I think anything's welcome.
Okay, I'm going. I think that's a really wonderful thing to do, and thank you very much for that information. And now we're going into Commissioner reports. That's 6A on our agenda. I am going to call on Commissioner Posta.
My God, isn't anybody else going to speak here today? Anyway, anybody out there interested in deals for seniors? I have a few you may be unaware of, but you know it's the holiday season, and that always means shopping and generally eating out. Almost all fast food chains give discounts to seniors. I'm going to just recite a whole bunch of them and just see if you probably recognize a few that you can go to. Apple, they give 10 to 15 discounts almost everywhere. Applebee's, Arby's, Bennigan's, Bob's Big Boy, Boston Market, Burger King, they have a senior discount, and they give discounts in coffee and soft drinks on top of that. Chick-fil-A, they offer a free refillable senior drink. Chili's Restaurants, Claim Jumper gets 10%. Denny's has a super a menu, senior menu. Dunkin' Donuts, you get a free donut with the purchase of a large or extra large beverage. Einstein Bagels, El Pollo Loco, IHOP, they have a great senior menu too. Krispy Kreme gives you a discount. Who else? McDonald's? Yeah, you get discount in coffee every day you go in there. All you have to do is ask. Mrs. Fields and Subway, 10% off. Taco Bell gives 5% plus a free beverage. Remember, many discounts vary by location, so ask and you shall maybe receive. Are you going to travel over the holidays? Discounts are available, but again, keep in mind that discounts may vary and change without notice. Marriott, Red Roof Inn, Hyatt up to 50% off for seniors. La Quinta, Motel 6, Wyndham Hotels, Best Western, Cambria, Clarion, Days Inn, Hampton, Holiday Inn, Hyatt, senior discounts. La Quinta, Motel 6, Travelodge. I mean, there's a slew of them, probably many that I didn't mention that you may be aware of. Remember to ask. You're going to go shopping. Many shops offer senior discounts, some every day, others only on special days or hours. You might be surprised to learn that a lot of trendy shops give a senior citizens discount. At Banana Republic, if you're over 50, you can get a 10% discount simply by asking for it. At Kohl's on Wednesdays, over 60s can get 15% off. And on Tuesdays, outlet stores Marshall's, Ross will offer up to a 10% discount for seniors. Walgreens holds a Seniors Day once a month. Discounts of up to 20%. Others give 10% or more discounts. That includes Target, Macy's, Hallmark, and many others. You going by train or bus this holiday? Amtrak, you can save 15% on the lowest available fare. Greyhound, 62 plus can receive up to a 20% discount. Trailways gives a similar discount. If you're thinking about traveling somewhere further from home, you might know that you can get senior discounts from airlines too. Retirees at senior rates just show proof of age when you are booking. United Airlines offers senior fares. You can get senior fares from American Airlines. British Airways, ARPA members are eligible to receive 65 off an economy travel and 200 off business club. Just ask. The worst that can happen is they say no and you would break even, wouldn't you? Other ones, senior discounts in car rentals. Avis, Alamo, Budget, up to 10 to 25%. $1 a day. Dollar rent-a-car, 10%. Hertz does it. And, these, they only give 1% off. Remember what Commissioner Gitt said, get those free tickets. from VC AAA, and have a good holiday season. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Commissioner Posta. Really, really good information. Appreciate that. Let's go to 6B on our agenda now, and that's going to be my education report. And, you know, over the last few years, I've told you about the terrific free classes at the Thousand Oaks Library. But as we get into the cold winter months when it's raining and miserable outside, I want to be sure that you know about the wide variety of free online classes that you may also access through the Thousand Oaks Library. So you get your mug of tomato soup and you make yourself a little grilled cheese sandwich and sit down and fire up your computer and get online to learn something brand new. So here's the way you do it. And I have a hard time remembering specific web page addresses. So this is what I do. I do it the easy way. Just open up your internet browser and on the top address line, type in Thousand Oaks Library free online classes. That's it. And that will take you to a page that's going to say at the very top, free online classes. Bingo. Type on that. Click on that, and that will bring up a whole page of online schools and platforms or programs where you can take free classes. Now, for a couple of them, it's going to ask you for your library card number, and that's the number in red that's over the barcode on the front of your library card. And then it asks for your PIN. PIN? A personal identification number for a library card? I never heard of such a thing. So I called them because I wanted to take a class over the weekend. And they said, oh, yeah, the PIN is going to be usually the last 4 digits of the phone number associated with your library card. That's easy to remember. So I typed that in and boom, I'm in. So I did a class over the weekend on an online school called lynda.com. It's Lynda. And it teaches lessons all by videos, which I really kind of like. Sit back, watch the videos, learn something new. And so I took a class in beginning blogging because many of you know I'm a writer and I write all kinds of things, but I've never written a blog, which is an online log that you write down your thoughts on a website. So I did that, and it took maybe a couple hours over the weekend. And so I have learned the basics of blogging. And then yesterday, I thought, okay, do something wild and crazy. So I went back to this site, free online classes, Thousand Oaks Library, and I went into the Khan Academy, Khan Academy, and they have a class called An Hour of Coding. And I've always thought, whoa, I'd kind of like to find out what coding's all about. Everybody's heard of coding, but how do you do it? So I looked at the description of the class, and it said this class is suitable for ages 8 and above. So I thought that is perfect. That is just my speed, 8 and above. So I did that class for an hour, and now I kind of have a little idea about what coding is all about. So again, as the weather is cooler this winter and you want to do something different, think about going into Thousand Oaks Library free online classes and take a couple hours to learn something new. It's a lot of fun. Thank you. And now I'd like to go to number 6C on our agenda, social services, and I'm going to call on Commissioner Maria.
Thank you, Chair Gorbach. The past several weeks have certainly been a difficult time for our community, and we had the Borderline tragedy, and then on top of that, we had the Hill and Woolsey fires. So I just wanted to take a moment to share with you a website. Some of you may have been impacted directly or may know people that were impacted by the recent fires. I wanted to share a website you can go to that really has all of the information you need if you're still struggling to recover from the fires. It's the Ventura County Recovers.org. That's all you need to know. This is an official County of Ventura recovery information website. It will cover everything you need to know for the Ventura County fires. You can find out information on debris removal, housing, damaged property, how to rebuild, and there's much, much more. One of the things that you can get through a quick link if you visit VenturaCountyRecovers.org is a FEMA fact sheet, and that has all the federal information that you need on individual or household programs that are provided through FEMA. You're also going to see a menu that has several quick links that you can click on if you've been impacted by the Hill or the Woolsey fires. And again, it'll talk to you about rebuilding, damaged property, financial assistance, agricultural assistance, health issues, and then most importantly, given the next few weeks, rain readiness. When I came in today, it was starting to rain, and I know we're supposed to have some more rain again tomorrow. Again, you can go to VenturaCountyRecovers.org, and I'm going to keep saying this because I want everybody to remember the website. There is also a link to this website. If you go to the City of Thousand Oaks website, toaks.org, you can get to VenturaCountyRecovers.org. The City of Thousand Oaks website, toaks.org, will have city-specific information on it related to fire recovery and sandbag information. There are several locations where you can get free sandbags or get sandbags filled, and also some good information on flood, debris, and erosion control, because that's going to be the next thing that we have to worry about with the upcoming rains. And then finally, even if you don't need the services or you don't need help right now, I do recommend that you visit the site. You can register for recovery notifications, and you can also support and donate to Conejo Valley Victims Fund, and then they always need volunteers. So there's a list of opportunities if you're interested in volunteering. So again, VenturaCountyRecovers.org. And that's all I have.
Great. Thank you very much. We are getting really good, important information. Turn this on and we'll get ready for our speaker. And we're going to go to number 7. We're going to go to number 7 on our agenda. And I'd like to introduce Commissioner Mortimer, who will introduce our speaker.
Thank you, Chair Gorbach. I'd like to introduce Michael Williams, President of Gray Law of Ventura County. Mr. Williams graduated from Allen Hancock College and Fresno State and served in the U.S. Coast Guard from 1970 to 1973. He joined Gray Law in August 1979 and became president in 1981. He was a commissioner for the city of Camarillo to the Ventura County Housing Commission and was elected chair of the commission from 1986 to 1988. He has taught at Ventura College of Law on elder abuse over the years while maintaining a private law practice, currently limited to estate planning and probate. Please welcome Michael Williams.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the invite here, and I hope the weather is clearing up outside as we speak. I was asked to talk about a topic, and I'm going to treat it like sort of a primer for people that really don't understand what estate planning means and why they may or may not actually need to spend a lot of time thinking about it. I'd like to start with what is an advanced healthcare directive. It allows you to choose somebody to speak on your behalf if you're in the hospital and can't speak on your own behalf. The question that's more complicated is because I think everybody should have one, is who should I designate? Who can I pick? And if you're married, then normally, under normal circumstances, a spouse would be a good first choice. But there's a story about a gentleman that walked into a bank, and as he walked through the front door of the bank, he pulled a mask out and put it on his face, and he pulled a gun out of a different pocket. And as he walked up, and there's a row of tellers, and then there's a row of customers waiting for the tellers. And just as he got up in front of the customers, the mask dropped off. So he picked it up and he put it back on his face, and he looked at the first gentleman and said, "Did you see my face?" And he nods, "Yes." And he shoots him, and he falls dead, and he looks at the lady behind him and says, "Did you see my face?" And she says, "No, but my husband did." So the question is, maybe sometimes a spouse isn't the first choice. Now, and also sometimes it's possible that a child isn't the right choice. This is not like a power of attorney, and we're going to talk a little bit about powers of attorney in a moment, where it's finances and access to bank accounts and things like this. This is something that is pertinent to, for the most part, to end-of-life issues. And if you designate one of your children as your healthcare agent, you may in effect be asking them to unplug mama. And many children are simply unable to do that. So you have to have the conversation. You have to be able to sit down with whoever you're designating, indicate what your specific wishes are, and then, hopefully. Now, do you need an attorney to do an advanced healthcare directive? I've probably seen 25 different advanced healthcare directive forms, and as far as I'm concerned, they're all good. If it says advanced healthcare directive, then it's, it has certain wording in it that's mandated. I've seen them that are 12 pages with big print and things that include all kinds of separate issues, like, do you want antibiotics if you have an infection and things like that. I'm not sure that I'm really interested in that much detail on mine. I just basically want somebody to be able to say, this is what he wants. And I have my wife selected as mine. Now, if it says something other than an advanced healthcare directive, then it's not an advanced healthcare directive. I've seen things that with other titles on them, and take your own risk if that's what you think you're getting. Skipping right along, we have a limited amount of time here. On powers of attorney, they like advanced healthcare directives, they're very self-explanatory now. But it also is the single most dangerous form you're ever going to sign, because what you're doing is you're granting somebody access to your bank accounts and your finances and your property, and they can sell your house. That's what a power of attorney is set to do. Now, the good news is you share authority. And Gray Law gets probably 2 phone calls a month from somebody saying, I gave so-and-so a power of attorney and they have taken away my authority. Well, they didn't take away your authority. They're sharing your authority. It's not exactly the same thing. Okay, do I need a lawyer to do a power of attorney? Now, there's a big split amongst lawyers on whether or not you need an attorney to do a power of attorney. There's a statutory form, power of attorney, that you can download from the internet for free. We also have one that we hand out for free at our office. But it's modified because there are things on the statutory form power of attorney that really aren't clear. One of the things that's, because historically powers of attorney terminated when you die or terminated when you became incompetent. So the function of that power of attorney has really kind of gone away, because I defy you to find a place on the planet that if you aren't willing to jump out of an airplane with a parachute, you can't get to within 24 hours. So there's no real distance problems. You can call, tweet, fax, and all the different communication methods that we have today to communicate with people. So the function of a power of attorney from that standpoint is practically gone. So there's what they have now is, it's called a springing power, where you can do a power of attorney that is not effective today, but becomes effective at the occurrence of an event, such as your incapacity. They still terminate when you die, but they can survive your incapacity. And for most of us, that's really when we want to have the power of attorney to become effective. The problem with the statutory form is that you, there you go. The problem with the statutory form is who gets to determine that you lack competence. Because with most attorney-prepared most attorney-prepared powers of attorney, it's very explicit what your wishes are. The power of attorney form that we routinely hand out for free has different options where you can have it effective immediately if you want it to be effective immediately, or you can have it spring into effect upon the incapacity determined by your personal physician or 2 doctors, which is much more standard to have the power of attorney become effective when 2 doctors determined. Thank you. I can see this sort of. Now, like I said, I'm using this a little bit as a primer on estate planning. So one of the things that I would like to talk about is something that not that many people really are aware of, called a holographic will. There are 3 simple rules to a holographic will. It has to be in your own handwriting. And I've had people say, I did this on my computer. Well, no, that's not your handwriting. So that's not a holographic will, okay? It also it doesn't have to be witnessed. Like I said, there are 3 rules. The 3 rules are very simply, it has to be in your own handwriting. If you have a question, defer to Rule 1. Okay? And Rule 2 is it has to be dated, and it can say Christmas. It can say Valentine's Day, but it can't say Easter because Easter changes. So it's better if you just pick a day and write down the day, okay? And it has to be signed. And that's really the rules of writing your own holographic will. I do have a couple of limitations. I bolt on some extra rules. Rule number 1 is don't use legalese. If you're quoting from somebody else's will or a will that you previously had done, don't use it. Write it in your own words. The simplest way I like to explain it is write it down as if you're trying to explain it to a 9-year-old. And trust me, I'm not trying to demean our judiciary and say they're simple-minded or anything. I'm trying to just make it crystal clear because that's your goal. Crystal clarity is your goal. Simple is much better. Okay, and then do you really need a lawyer to help you? And the times that you're really going to need a lawyer to help you with the will is if there's uneven distribution, you're leaving out one or more of your children, there are adopted children, or otherwise your will is complicated. If you're writing a holographic will, really the best thing to do is to use a single piece of paper. I've seen them, the yellow legal pads with the lines on it. I submitted a will to the probate judge that was written in 1984 in regular ink on one of those pads. And one of the things that happens with those pads after the number of years that have passed is that they kind of blur and the ink blurs in. And since it was written on both sides, what we had to do was make a copy of it so you could, and then lighten the print until you could actually read one side and then the other. So when the judge got it, it was a total mess. But then we were able to attach the addendum where you could actually read the words. So probably a better choice of paper and pen would be appropriate. Now, the next question is, does the lawyer regularly do wills? And most lawyers are capable of drafting a will, but if they regularly do wills, usually it's something that they can whip out in a few minutes, and it's much less expensive that way. And then the next question is, do you care if your estate has to go through probate? Because if you have a will, it does not prevent probate. And the next question that people ask me routinely is, what's probate? There are 3 ways to transfer property in the state of California. The first way is you simply sign a deed. That's how you bought your house. That's how you sell your last house. You sign a deed, or somebody signs a deed to you. So that's 1. 2 is by operation of law. Operation of law means on the deed itself, on the face of the deed, it says husband and wife. So the spouse can take that without having to deal with probate because they already own the house. The same thing with magic words. And I refer to magic words because any other combination of words does not work. It's called as joint tenants. If it says as joint tenants, when one of them dies, the other simply gets the property. There is no requirement for probate. And the third way is by a signature of a judge of the Superior Court. There's the only three ways you can transfer real estate in the state of California. That signing by the judge is called probate. It's done in the probate court, and so that's what we're referring to. Okay, so how much does probate cost? There's a statutory determination of how much probate costs. And the attorney and the administrator or executor are paid exactly the same amount. And it's written right into the statute, 4% of the first $100,000, 3% of the next $100,000, 2% between $200,000 and $1 million, and 0.5%. 1% between $1 million and 10, and 0.5% over. So it can run into quite a bit of money. $500,000, $600,000 piece of real estate can easily be $30,000 in expenses. And so if you're interested, that's reason number one to want to avoid probate if you own real estate. The second is how long it takes. I just did an ancillary probate out of the state of New York. And interestingly enough, the probate in the state of New York took less than 3 months. In California, the ancillary probate here in California took 11 months. And it basically is totally set up by the paperwork from the state of New York. But those are the rules. As long as there aren't family disputes, problems with the will, difficulty with one or more assets, structural or engineering problems, or other, or a contest. Then, time-wise, it can be it can take easily up to a year to, can everybody see this? Is that okay? Okay, and easily. So how can I avoid probate is the next logical question. The answer is don't own real estate. Because if you don't own real estate, then you can have $10 million in the bank and put named beneficiaries on it. And who gets the money from the bank account when you die? The beneficiary does. It goes directly, you've just made an agreement with the bank that when you die, that beneficiary receives the money. The same thing with a life insurance policy. It's a contract between you and an insurance company to pay somebody else in the event of your death. With an insurance policy, unless you have the ability to borrow against it or something like that, it's not even your money. Same thing with 401ks or 457s. For anybody that's a state employee, they have 557 accounts. And then there's the small estate declaration. That's another way of avoiding. And the question becomes, what's a small estate? Well, under Probate Code Section 13101, a small estate is the gross value of the estate less than $150,000. That's not counting a car. We refer to that as the Maserati rule. And not counting a mobile home. So even if it's on the beach in Malibu, as long as you don't own the land underneath it, it doesn't count. And then it also doesn't count a boat or watercraft. And I've never actually come up against a probate where they had a yacht yet. Well, I've always been sort of interested in finding out if a guy lived on a yacht. He doesn't own the land underneath it, so who knows? It might qualify, and it even is mentioned specifically in Probate Code Section 13101. Okay, but I have real estate. Okay, so if you have real estate and it's worth less than $30,000, I want you to plant that in your head. I defy you in Ventura County to find anything larger than a postage stamp that's worth less than $30,000. But if the answer is yes, that you own real estate, then a living trust is a solution if it's important to you to avoid probate. If it's not really, okay, the two questions that I ask when somebody comes in and says, do I need a living trust? I say, do you own real estate? Obvious reason. Do you have children? And why is that a question? Because if you don't have children, do you really care if it goes through probate? If you're giving it to a bank of charities, it may or may not be important that they get it quickly. If it's going to your children, then it's probably more important to you that the money go past them as quickly as possible. Do you need a living trust? Well, we're going to go through this slide in a moment again, but basically, real estate's the key. Bank accounts and CDs, qualifying accounts. Does everybody know what a qualifying account is? That's a tax-deferred account. And if you have a tax-deferred account, make it crystal clear with your accountant what your obligations are, because many of them, if you transfer them into the trust, you have to pay the taxes, which sort of defeats the purpose of having a qualified account. Okay? And then the fourth food group, as I refer to them, is called other, because anything that doesn't have a title, I could sneak into your house, not that I'm planning on it, trust me, and steal your couch. And unless you can identify the stains or something, you'll probably never get it back because it doesn't have a title. So there's no way of proving that that fork or that piece of carnival glass happens to be yours, because there are so many exactly the same as it. Do I need to talk to an attorney about a living trust? And the example that I like to use is you own a business worth $600,000, and your accountant says, you know, you could get some tax benefits if you decided to incorporate. Okay, so would you do the corporation yourself? And the answer is probably not, because if you messed it up, now you got a problem, because there may be a problem with ownership, there may be a problem with the title. Well, it's exactly the same thing if you have a living trust, because what you're attempting to accomplish is creating a legally viable entity, a legally recognized entity that's going to own your property instead of you. A trust is declared into existence in the same way that a corporation is. A trust is a legally recognized entity, the same as a corporation is, and it's capable of owning property. But it's still different because trusts use your Social Security number, so your tax returns are exactly the same as they were the year before. A corporation uses an EIN or a tax identification number. Trusts use your tax status, and a corporation follows a completely different set of rules. So there are some advantages to corporations. One of the main advantages, if it's set up correctly, is to avoid liability. But that's what insurance is for, and it's too easy to pierce the corporate veil in modernly. Okay, so how does it work? You draft an instrument and you declare yourself to be the trustor, and then 99 times out of 100 you also declare yourself to be the trustee. The trustor has two powers. That doesn't seem like very many, but they're really big. One is to revoke, and one is to amend it. So if it needs to be fixed, you can fix it. You don't have to just get rid of it. Okay? Now, the trustee is like the president of the corporation, where that's the person who's responsible for the day-to-day operations of the living trust. Buy, sell, borrow, lease, rent, basically do the things that you do on a day-to-day basis. But now you have to get a successor trustee. And a successor trustee is a position of great responsibility, because the person will take over complete authority of the assets that belong to the trust, which hopefully would be everything that you own. or almost everything that you own. They're responsible to see your assets distributed after your death. So this is a position that you need to take very carefully. Then, in the trust, you include yourself in a position called the life beneficiary, because you want all of the assets of the trust set up exclusively for your benefit as long as you're alive. No one can claim property belonging to the trust, but it's still yours. So if you wanted to give it to them, you can still give it to them. Okay. Excuse me. And the next part is called a remainder beneficiary, which is almost exactly like a will. Who do you want to get your property when you're gone? The advantage over the probate is you don't have to wait a year to get the assets distributed, and it's frequently, it's much less expensive, except under rare circumstances that they're protracted. Now, the next slide I have is called Clear as Mud, because from somebody who went to law school, albeit 37 years ago, this class takes a year. This is not a 20-minute session, but I like to explain it in a different way. Consider the fact that you're creating a vessel, and the sole function of this vessel is to transfer assets when you die. So we have title to your home, and we transfer ownership of the title to the vessel, because if you own it, what happens when you die? It goes through probate. Now, it doesn't have to go through probate. Who's the captain of the vessel? You are, because you're the trustee. The successor trustee can step in after you're dead, distribute the property. Now, one step further. The house has been transferred in, but you own something else. I'm going to get something lighter. There you go. You own something else, and you do not transfer it into the trust. What happens to it when you die? And the reason that I say it this way is because there is this mystical belief that if you have a living trust, automatically everything avoids probate. And it doesn't. You've created a vessel. Now you have to fill the vessel. Okay? You do a quit claim deed, you transfer ownership of the property into the trust, you evaluate your other assets to see what they are and see whether or not it's important for you to transfer these assets into the trust, and then you transfer them in or not. That's a personal decision. So what assets should go into the trust? Every year at seminars, I'm told repeatedly by whoever's teaching the class, no matter where the class is, you tell your clients to put everything into the trust, and nobody does. Because if you have a 2001 Chrysler LeBaron, probably doesn't need to go in the trust, okay? But if you've got a 1963 Corvette split-window Stingray, you better put that thing in the trust. But you see the difference. One of them is moderate or limited value, and the other one is worth a house. Okay? But that's a decision that you guys should make, and not the probate court if the time comes. Now, one of the things that you have to look for whenever you're doing a living trust and making a decision on what assets are going to be transferred in and what assets aren't is what I refer to as landmines. For example, you owned a house and you sold the house and you carried back a note secured by deed of trust, and they owe you more than $30,000. What happened? Well, that's an interest in real property worth more than what the limit is. Therefore, it's going through probate. Regardless of what else you might own, the house may not go through probate because it's over here. But here's this interest in real property. And also, one of the things, I hate telling people about the $150,000 exemption under the probate code, because I've seen people actually say, I've got $149,000 in this bank account, And as soon, 5 seconds before they die, interest is paid, and it has to go through probate. And I've actually seen that happen. I've also seen a person that lived right here in Thousand Oaks. I did a living trust, and she sold her house, and she didn't put the money into a bank account in the trust. So she had, I don't remember what it was, about $300,000 from the sale of the house that she put into the bank account and died. Guess what happened? Went through probate. So just because you have a living trust probably doesn't mean that you know all the rules about it or how you can take full advantage of it. Okay? A living trust is a tool. That's all it is. How many gardeners in the room? I enjoy playing in the backyard. My wife is taking my backyard away from me as we speak. We're putting in pavers and stuff, okay? Now, I'm really enjoying it, but I don't get to putter around, and she will not let me putter in the front yard because that's too open to the public. But I used to go down to Lowe's or Home Depot, and there'd be racks of these fancy gardening tools, and there was one that had sharp blades and wheels, and you could, circle around stuff and weed stuff, and I flipped over the price tag and it said $99. So I bought the hula hoe for $8.50. See, it's a tool. And I've had clients who should never spend the money for a living trust because it's a tool. So if it's something that does something that you're interested in, then the living trust makes a very good tool. Now, I'm way back behind in my slides probably, but that's okay. I tend to do that. This is something that I'm going to spend a couple of minutes talking about. This is the book on the life class. And the life class is a class that's put on for free, and these books are handed out for free by the Area Agency on Aging. This is a class that I give, and we've done hundreds of them. And they're all free. We do them at the Global Senior Center routinely. But they have to be contacted through the Area Agency on Aging. And the class can be set up for any group larger than 6, they say. That's their rule, not specifically mine. And the books are free. They're handouts. We would like to see them go to seniors and caregivers. But the books are available, and the classes are 2 hours. We've touched a little bit on what the class is about right here in this little session here, but it's in a lot more depth. We're covering a lot more topics, and unfortunately, there's a couple extra jokes in there too. So, but the book is excellent. It was done in a survey in 2009 by the Area Agency on Aging. The Area Agency on Aging came up with 3 needs in Ventura County in 2009. One was a senior hotline, which is 211 now. We have a senior hotline. The other was a book that explained legal rights of seniors, which is what this has generated. And the third was a legal services program. Well, Gray Law's been around since 1979, and only 32% of the population of Ventura County was aware that we existed. Now, the only good news from that is only 16% of the people taking the survey were aware of who the Area Agency on Aging was. So that was good news. But the bad news is that 68% of the population of Ventura County seniors wasn't aware that there was a free legal service in Ventura County. And so I would genuinely like to take this opportunity to say, we're here. We go to the Global Senior Center. We go to senior centers all over the county of Ventura, and we would love to answer your questions. If it's not something that we handle, because we don't do fee-generating cases. We don't do criminal law, family law. Unfortunately, there's a list of things that we don't do. But we are probably a good contact point if you have legal questions to call Gray Law and say, I have a problem X. And if it is something that we can give you some advice on, then you've hit home run, okay? If it's not, my secretary's been there for 28 years. She knows everybody in the county. So we can probably guide you to somebody who can help you. So thank you very much for inviting me down here today. This has been very important to me to come talk to you.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Do we have any questions from the dais? Go ahead, Commissioner Gitt.
Do you have any comments on the online services such as LegalZoom and the other services?
I belong to an organization called CANNER, California Advocates for Nursing Home Reform. And unfortunately, thank you. Unfortunately, CANNER sued LegalZoom over the way they handled their trusts, because there really was no contact point at all. In fact, now if you contract with LegalZoom, they offer you a phone number that is actually a representative of CANNER that would answer the questions because of the lawsuit. I am scared to death to have you talk to somebody to try to deal with a machine to accomplish something as important as a living trust. Can they do it? Absolutely. I have people ask me all the time, can I write my own trust? The answer is probably, but that's a little scary proposition, because if what you're doing is you're changing the ownership of your home, you don't want to mess that up. It's too risky. If you want to be safe, talk to an attorney. Charges for living trusts in Ventura County, the average is probably somewhere between $1,500 and $4,000. They're expensive. They're not something that should be taken lightly. But again, it's a tool. It's a tool. So if it's important to you, then call people, ask questions, ask them, how much you going to charge me? Okay? How much you going to charge me? And if they won't tell you, if they say, we operate on an hourly rate, then that's an answer. It is. So are there good people out there? Absolutely. Absolutely. But you're on your own. It's an arm's length transaction anytime you deal with an attorney.
So second question, state laws and federal laws change. How often do you recommend updating a trust?
Okay, fair question. I recommend that you update your trust if you decide you hate one of your kids, or the successor trustee moves to Zanzibar. Short of that, if it's valid when you did it, it's valid. The changing of the law, remember the old saying, we all learned it in elementary school, ex post facto. That's what that's for. They can't make something illegal if it's legal when you did it.
Another question.
Oh, I think we have some winners down on the other end, if we can interrupt for a second. But you guys decide.
We have
Just to be clear, you were mentioning that you do presentations, the 2-hour life
Yes.
presentations at the Global Center. And I was curious because you said that that they offer free legal services. And does those people that attend at the Global Center, are they really just listening to presentations, or are they able to have assistance in putting together a will or a trust at those times?
Okay, the primary function of gray law is one-on-one, face-to-face.
Okay.
Not the classes.
Okay.
The classes are something we do because people have been clamoring about it. Simple as that. So that's primary. And if you have questions about estate planning, we will talk with you. The gray law does not provide any fee services whatsoever. We do have some referrals for people that offer discounts, but that's between you and them.
So that's at your location then?
No, at the Global Center.
It's at the center itself?
At the center. We go to every center
wonderful.
throughout the county. That's our primary function.
That is really great.
One-on-one, face-to-face. And honestly, we see, I think last year we saw 400, we either saw one-on-one or talked on the phone and to over 400 residents of Thousand Oaks alone.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Do we have
Back to
any other?
you. Oh,
Yes, Commissioner Posta.
Very Very good talk. I really enjoyed it very, very much. I do have two questions. One of them is you don't do any legal services per se. You don't practice law. You just give advice. In other words, somebody says, "Can you help me draft this will?" You wouldn't do it even if you were doing it free.
If they were drafting a holographic will, what I would say is draft it. Write your phone number on the bottom of a copy, fax it over to us. I'll read it. See, so I'm not drafting a holographic will.
I just wondered how you differentiate between practicing law and giving
and
advice.
Legal advice.
Right.
Okay, fair question.
Legal,
we hand out.
You assume you're lawyers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sworn in June the 4th, 1981. I was 10 years old. Okay, maybe not. Okay. Nobody believed that. Come on, guys. Okay. Most of what we do is we used to refer to it as poverty law. It's not so much poverty law anymore because Medi-Cal, one of our primary focuses, it now deals with virtually everybody. If any person in this room was married and their spouse was in a skilled nursing facility, they would be asking us questions about how can I get my spouse eligible for this for Medi-Cal because it cost me $8,000 a month. See, so it's not just poverty law anymore, but it used to be. Medi-Cal used to be totally poverty law, but that's changed. We do a lot of counseling on advanced healthcare directives, powers of attorney. If people have estate planning questions, do I need a trust? That's an estate planning question, and we'll talk to them. All kinds of topics, though. Landlord-tenant questions, very, very broad range. A lot of them are listed in the brochures that you have.
A follow-up I had with Commissioner Gitt's question about how often you should, take it back in to see if the new law has changed it. I do know what ex post facto is.
Sure.
That's legal. I don't think he was talking really about illegal, but new laws that come into effect that might be beneficial to revise. I personally had an experience recently about the difference between having your IRA folded into your trust,
right,
as opposed to directly going to the children, which allows them to take it out over a longer period of time. And I was unaware of that, and it was very important that I change it because it has significant value. But that was because of something new, I believe.
No. Qualified accounts have remained the same since their creation, practically. If you change title and it isn't a transfer between parent and child, then it's a taxable event.
Yes.
But I think it's been that way since dirt. If that's a time description, if
so you say possible. Once it's set, you don't have to.
If you have a 401k and you have beneficiaries listed, that's about as good as you can do. In a lot of ways, that's a problem because your successor trustee does not have access to those funds in the event that you have that you're in a coma or something. So that's why you also should consider doing something. As dangerous as I think it is, we hand out the forms for free for powers of attorney because we think powers of attorney are part of the structure of how to protect yourself. If you have an advanced healthcare directive and you have a power of attorney, technically, if you become incompetent, the court doesn't need to go through the machinations to designate a conservatorship, saving your family beaucoup time and a bucket full of money by not requiring a guardianship because the mechanisms are set up for you not to need one because somebody is in charge of your body and somebody is in charge of your money, as long as they're the right powers of attorney.
Well, thank you.
No, my pleasure.
Great, thank you. Do we have other questions, Commissioner Gitt?
So another question. If your trust is in the name of you and your spouse, and one of the partners dies, is it necessary to update the trust?
No. Because, first off, virtually without question, that trust takes that into consideration. And the name of the trust does not change. It's still husband and wife as trustees of the husband and wife trust. It's just that one of the things that you might want to do, because there's probably real estate involved, but there's no emergency to do it. It's called an affidavit death of trustee. So if you needed to sell the property, you would have to do a form that says, now this person is no longer the trustee because here's the certified copy of the death certificate. So, it's not something, it's something that most people don't do until both spouses are deceased and the kids come in and they have to do one for each of them. That's all. So there's not like a time requirement on things like that.
Any other questions from the dais? Thank you very much, Mr. Williams.
My
Once
pleasure.
Again, everybody, thank you.
Anytime. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you again. And now let's move to number 8 on our agenda, Commissioner comments, and I'll start down with Commissioner Allen. Yes, Commissioner Gitt? Commissioner Gitt.
The Caneo Valley Village is going to have its Christmas holiday luncheon on December 13th. If you're interested in getting more information on the Caneo Valley Village, whose mission is to help seniors stay in their homes and remain socially connected to the community, you can give us a call at 805-372-1026, or you can look us up on the web at caneovalleyvillage.org. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Down this way, Commissioner. Yes.
I just want to wish everybody a happy, healthy, and safe holiday season.
Great. Thank you very much, Commissioner Maria. Commissioner Posta?
I always got something to say.
That's all good.
All you people out there can see us on TV, right? But we can't see you. It ain't fair. Why don't you all come by and in person, and we can see you, and you can ask questions of us, whatever questions you want to get answered. You know, free game. It's really a lovely place, and we get along famously with people who are in attendance here at the meetings. So please do stop by, and we'll be able to wish you a happy holiday in person. We'll be waiting to see you.
Thank you. Any other comments? At the end, Commissioner Allen.
I wanted to add one more senior discount, and that's Corner Bakery gives 10%, and they're right here in our backyard.
Great. Thank you very much. Commissioner Belding down at the end.
I have a little quick recommendation. I recently read a New Yorker magazine article online. It's called The Memory House by Larissa, and it is the most compelling article I have ever seen and exhaustive on dementia and Alzheimer's care and ethical concerns, and also new facility environments that mimic whole neighborhoods. It's just so incredibly great. So online, you can read it for free. The Memory House by Larissa.
Great. Thank you very much, Commissioner Belding. And I would just like to thank all of my fellow commissioners here on the dais for all the work you did over the last month to prepare your reports to go out to the public. And with that, I would like to call this meeting adjourned. Our next televised meeting will be the first, we have a date on that? The first Wednesday in January. What date is that? We don't have a televised meeting actually in January. I meant to say that. So the next televised meeting is going to be the first Wednesday in February. And do we have a date on that? We have a date. We're looking that up right now. And that's going to be February 6th. So we hope to see you here at 1 o'clock. And with that, I'd like to adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much.